Look at us now, tip to tip.
Jesus.
Oh.
Shout out to Morning Combat.
Do you want a margarita?
Yes!
My God!
It's us doing what we love. But it's time to bang. Oh, yeah. This shit right here is too cheesy. Welcome on into Morning Combat. Halloween edition, biatch. You're looking at the master, the one. Right next to me from D.C., his Satanic Pumpkins Majesty's request, Anton Thomas LaVey in the house. Yes.
Hi.
Yo.
This is truly the stupidest fucking show.
Yo, I be hard since the beginning. In fact, I grew up looking up at barbed wire. If you know what I'm saying. If you know
You
what
look
I'm
like
saying.
that rapper Stitches.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Welcome on in October 31st, 2025. You hear them crickets? There's two old bitches up in this MK house. Yeah. And boy, do we have a bang her. Wow, I just met her this weekend in the warehouse. Let's go. Let's get fired up. It's Garcia Onama fight week. And Ronda Rousey was on Burnt Chrysler's podcast. So, hey, this is Morning Combat. Come fly with us. LT, how is it down there? Did you go out for mischief night and throw some TP around or what?
No, took Tukey to like a local neighborhood event last night, and then we have people coming over today, and we have trick or treating to go to. It's going to be
Colombian
wild.
people? Colombian people?
Yeah, and some friends, some friends as well. So it'll be cool.
All right. I was going to say I don't think you threw around the TP last night at mischief night, but I heard this morning it was like a men's dress shop up in your bathroom. If you know.
Yeah,
what I'm saying,
it
right?
was an epic as grandiose as Ben-Hur. I mean,
yeah,
truly a one of those moments we have to reflect quietly on something that just happened to you of great significance. You know.
I hear you. Yeah, great movie, Ben-Hur. You ever see Ben Him starring Bruce Jenner? Dude, that shit's too cheesy. All right.
I look forward to us being fired for cause today.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Hey, it's Morning Combat. Welcome in. You could probably like the show. It would probably go a long way. Subscribe. Shout out to the YouTubers, the DraftKings Network watchers, and you divorced dads grocery shopping, listening to audio only. This is the show. This is the show that people still care about 6+ years later. Okay, because we be jamming, we be real up in this biatch. This is going to be a show today. We're going to do some fun stuff. Look at the news that is. Also play a little bit of Orange A Trois with LT, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Okay. Two guys, one show, one segment. Let's see what happens there. And then close with your fan segments, your dead wrongs, your fan subs and all that bullshit. But what I want to say right off the top though.
BC, have you eaten the Arby's steak nuggets yet?
No. So all the Arby's in my area kind of disappeared. It's been very depressing.
Yeah, I can't imagine them to go out of business. What with serving, rat feet and cadavers. Yeah,
serving a certain U.S. Soccer team goalie's leaked nudes. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Does that joke still get over in 25? All right. Okay. Hey, this episode of Morning Combat.
God.
Presented to you by DraftKings. Of course, DraftKings. The crown is yiggity yours. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. Here's the deal. It's October merch season for today, the last day of the month. Get your exclusive items like two washed or super washed dads. And how about that great crossover collection with the Franken Luke and Donkula Halloween autograph posters, t-shirts brought to you by Average Joe Romero. And also you can mix and match the colors. Put one on your abuela before the wake. It's MK in the house, morningcombat.shop. And we'd love to introduce you to say hello to the third member of our team today, a producer, a director, a bong enthusiast. He's bringing a high libido, not from Australia, this time from the UK. All right.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
What's up?
Let's get Randy in here. It's Luke Nocito of the main card minute.
Honestly, it's not mine. But how we doing, boys? How we doing? You know, it was a little cringe of an intro. Just adding to the cringe here. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. I'll show myself out. There we go.
Yeah. Yo, Luke, you got to admit, this shit right here was too cheesy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I hope both of you die.
Okay, all right. LT, most importantly today, if I can bring back my regular accent, the Tukester, you have told me offline that she has been excited about this day for an epic long time.
Man, can I tell you what an assault? Can I show you something that I got for her? And see?
Yeah, let me take off these glasses.
Hold on, I'll be right back. Take the camera off me. I'll be right back. I want to show you. I mean, look, there's the fights this weekend are some balls. You know, let's just fucking do some fun shit. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Yo, people always ask me, like, what do these represent? You know what I'm saying? This right here is for all them balloons I've been sucking up behind Arby's and near the dumpster. You know what I'm saying right there? And this all the women I put to sleep Cosby style. All right, maybe we won't go that far. Okay, yeah. Maybe that's the reaction to this here joke we got. Okay, thank you very much. Too cheesy, back at it once a year. Okay, what do we got?
All right. This is my first time using. You ever used Etsy for anything, BC?
No, I try to avoid it.
Yeah. All right. So I used Etsy for the first time. Now I got to finish. As you can see here, some of the glue got stuck to a piece of paper I was using to help dry it. But I ordered a 3D printed staff for one of the characters from K-pop Demon Hunters. My little girl's going as one of the girls from K-pop Demon Hunters. And I had a lady on Etsy 3D print her blade and staff. I had to use tape to hold this part together because it's 3D printed, but it's real loosely 3D printed. Yeah. But I glued everything else together and sewn it all together, and I had to put the blade together in pieces, and then I had to mount it in here. What do you think? Looks pretty fucking cool, huh?
Yeah, that does. I love when you, like the late Kobe B, just hashtag girl dadding up in that. I love that, Luke. Okay. So she's like super excited. Will you inspect all of her chocolate for pinholes, Luke?
Pinholes? I'll inspect it by swallowing it. I mean,
hold on, I gotta let the cat in. You know,
it's that kind of a show. Anyway, my little girl is going as Mira from K-pop Demon Hunters. So for any dads or moms out there, I mean, there's no moms watching this. Let's be real. So for all the dads out there, you probably know what that is. There's a lot of girls going as Mira. Some are going as Zoe. Some are going as who was the other one? You guys don't know who the other one is?
Tamara.
You guys don't know shit about that show. That show is like crazy popular.
Why would we know shit about that? We don't have young kids. I mean,
Hey, fuck you, man. They put that back in movie theaters. It was so big.
All right.
It's the most selling costume this year in like Halloween spirit and stuff like that.
Now, what's the hook on this Demon Hunter show? Is it like about good guys, or is it about some dark shit?
No, it's sort of. It's the basic idea is that it's a totally accidental hit that Netflix didn't know they had. They put it out and it blew up, and they never thought it would. It's a K-pop.
Kind of reminds me of Showtime and Morning Combat. You know?
Yeah. It's a cartoon K-pop musical is the best way I would put it. And they kill demons in it, so it gets a little dark in certain times, but no, it's for little girls.
All right. Like Reggie's back, yo.
Yo, how long before we got to take that cat to this final resting place? You know what I'm saying? It's Halloween. It's a good time to ask.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of people in this house have been saying that lately. This guy's got a bad reputation. He's earned it. You know what I'm saying?
How old is he?
He's like almost 8 now. 7.
Bro, 7. You might remember this. The Barbus got sick, and I had to take him to the emergency room 1 year ago today.
Ouch.
And remember, they pulled him out of heart failure. He lasted until January, and then he ultimately died in January. But this was the day I couldn't go trick-or-treating last year because Barbus had to be rushed to the ER. And then I had to basically pay for a new car to save his life, and he only lived 3 more months. So was it worth it? I don't know.
Wow, one of our darker episodes to begin, but it's time to transition here directly into the program with topic number 1. Hey, somebody's going to see it this weekend in the warehouse down in Vegas. It's Apex time. It's UFC Fight Night. Featherweight fisticuffs on the line. One of Red Hot Steve Garcia brings a 6-fight win streak, including 5 KOs, into a bout against 4-fight win streaking and 6-1 overall, David Onama. And this road to UFC Fight Night Vegas. And the Fight Night preview brought to you, of course, by Total Wireless, the official wireless provider of the UFC. Get the unlimited data that won't slow you down. So, Luke Thomas, well, we're going to be fair here. On the good side, right? On the good side, the featherweight division has turned over. We're looking for fresh blood. Holloway out. Taptoria out. Volk back on top for now. But this battle between number 12 and 13 in that 145 division with exciting styles could conceivably produce a new contender. But that's not necessarily what I'm asking you about, because that's the good. The bad is we've asked this question before, but this time I wonder if we mean it. LT, be honest with me. We're all going to watch at least the main event anyway. But is this as bad as it gets in the warehouse? Is this the worst Apex Fight Night card we have had to date, or what?
It's a great question. I was talking about this before the show with LIL here, and this is kind of where I'm at. I'd be curious to get where you're at. I mean, we're kind of at a place now where we have to ask a question, which is, you know, if you're looking at all of the various tiers of products that you get from UFC, and that includes everything, right? So that would be Ultimate Fighter, that would be Contender Series, Road to UFC Asia, you name it, all the way on up to, let's call it Apex shows, then Fight Nights on the road, and then ultimately you get to numbered shows. I guess we're going to start calling those PLEs or whatever. So these are your tiers. If you think about what this is, which is, you know, it's an Apex card, it's a formal UFC event. So in other words, it's not Contender Series. It's not one of these tournament shows where people are vying for a spot. They've got a spot now. They're inside the organization. But once you're there, this is the lowest kind of tier of product that the UFC puts out, right? And I'm not even saying this in an insulting way. I'm asking, like, how would the UFC meaningfully have a product that had, you know, less the premier end of their product on it than something like this? Yes, they could actually go through BC and, like, you know, engineer the most meaningless matchups if they wanted to or something like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying as the product normally functions, right? Under its the way in which it's been designed and the way it gets turned out to the public inside the UFC tiers. What I'm saying is not that I'm not even saying that it's the same time it's the same story every card, BC, which is that could there be some fun fights on this card? Yep. Yes, of course there could, right? I go to regional MMA. I don't know what I'm going to get there. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. It's a similar kind of idea. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, given the suite of products that the UFC delivers inside formal UFC events themselves, I just think naturally this is the kind of lowest tier of product that they make. And your interest in that, obviously, and everyone else's, is, you know, going to vary.
Are you trying to say that this is Calvillo versus I tier?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think this is the kind of, it's a weird kind of conversation, right? Because it's a question of, it's not that the question of are the fights potentially good irrelevant. That's of course a relevant question, but it kind of obscures what the more important question is, which is, okay, but I thought this was supposed to be the premier end of the product. The premier end of the sport. It is not the premier end of the sport. In fact, given the tiers that they have within the UFC itself, it's the furthest away from their premier end. And I think that's the point to kind of raise here. And again, everyone has a choice. Do you want to watch it? Do you not want to watch it? Are there going to be good highlights? You know, we'll be talking about it regardless. I just think we have to be honest about inside the kingdom of classification, where would you put this? And I challenge, my challenge would be, I don't know where you would put this within the suite of UFC products, but at the bottom end of the tier, just given everything else that they can do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you largely. It was disappointing to see. It felt like this one, along with the next Fight Night main event, which has a bone theme in it, and is a similar level of, I don't want to say who are that guys, but, you know, just not having those couple huge names to grab you, that hopefully this is sort of the tail end of the ESPN era. And then we kick some absolute buttocks heading into the CBS Paramount one right there.
Yeah, obviously that plays a role too, right? Like, this is the end of the deal. If my math is right, and I think I've been saying this for a while, even before they formally announced it, the last event in the ESPN era is an Apex card. you know, they're I mean, I don't think they're going to be phoning it in at all when January starts, BC, right? I mean, all indications is going to be launched like a rocket. But they might be doing a little bit of that now. I mean, I don't think that's the most unfair thing to say.
No, I'm with you on that. By the way, your pumpkin mask on top of your head looks like a Shriner's cap when you're looking straight on. Or are you are you going to wear that to your Masonic Lodge Halloween party tonight, Luke?
No, I'm not going to wear this to the Masonic Lodge. What is no? That's
yeah, we'll just let it hit the floor. Luke, are you impressed though when we're talking about Steve Garcia, who gets sort of A-side treatment here? And maybe if you want to compare the two, has the brighter upside at the moment here at featherweight, as we are looking for new heroes at 145. How about this statistic that the folks at CBS Sports drug up? Garcia has the largest significant strike differential at plus 375 in UFC featherweight history, which is better than Volk, better than McGregor, better than Holloway. Does that mean he just hasn't faced the top level yet? Or does that mean this is looking like a striker who's ready for the top tier of what we got at featherweight?
Read that stat to me one more time.
Garcia has the largest significant strike differential in UFC featherweight history at plus 3.75.
I don't see how that's possible because David Onama has a better one. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm reading the wrong stat. You're right. That is correct. Yes. Strikes landed per minute, 5.18. Strikes absorbed, 2.2. Yeah, dude, listen, he started his career very mediocre. And when I say career, I mean, obviously UFC. He gets a win on Contender Series, then loses to Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena, who's not even in the organization anymore. Comes back, gets a win against Charlie Ontiveros. That's nice. Gets it inside, but then loses his next one to Mahershala. Now, since then, BC, so now we're in firmly 2022, the end of 2022. In fact, October 29, 2022, that's when everything began to turn with a Chase Hooper stoppage. And that sent him on this incredible win streak that he's been on, which has culminated, obviously, with the Calvin Kattar win. And it wasn't just a great Calvin Kattar win, BC. He clearly won that one. He outstruck him nearly 4-1. He dropped him in the third. I mean, he held Kattar to under 30 significant strikes total in the entire bout. Like, he put it on him. And what's kind of interesting, BC, is, and this kind of gets lost a little bit, listen, I remember the days when Jackson Wink had a ranked fighter on virtually every single UFC card and then multiple champions. Like, it was a factory of the highest end product that the sport could produce from an MMA gym. I mean, St. Pierre was there, Mark Ward, Rashad and Keith Jardine, and like I could just go on and on and on. It was just bonkers what they could do, and it hasn't been that way for quite some time. Gyms go through ups and downs, and not everyone can ride the highlight or the high wave for so long. But I'm just trying to point out, here he comes back, or I should say, I know there's Aaron Pico out there, but Garcia has been a kind of a day one Jackson guy. You know, it's nice to see Jackson's have a guy who can return to glory. He's earned it the hard way. Kyle Nelson win was great. There are some questions about him hitting the back of the head in that fight and other ones as well. But nevertheless, BC, the point you raise is there a reason to be excited about Steve Garcia? My only answer to that would be just looking at the resume, no question about it. But he is 33, so he's not I'm not saying he's done. In fact, look what he's doing. His career best work. What I am saying is he's finally making a run after the age of 32, and then that gives me some pause about what the ultimate upside could ultimately be.
Yeah, 14 knockouts and 18 career wins for Garcia, 7 in the first round, and you talked about the turnaround, the streak that he's on. Started with Chase Hooper, ending with Calvin Kattar, so we're getting somewhere. He deserves to be here, and if this is an introduction of sorts to the non-hardcore fan in this main event on Saturday, then I have to say I like the way Steve Garcia has carried himself this week, including throwing out a couple shots at the champ and his inactivity. Let's listen to Steve Garcia going hard in the paint on Volkanovski.
The way everything kind of went down, I was kind of hoping for something a little bit further ahead. You know what I mean? It's not a hit on him. It's just, you want to advance your career. It's about you, you know what I mean? And that's how the sport operates. But also, Volk's too busy cooking, you know what I mean? So he's holding everybody up at the top. So he just needs to make a decision. Just pick somebody. I don't know, just pull it out of a hat. Somebody, right? Because they're all waiting. get the division going again. You know what I mean? So at the top, you know, I feel like we can still fight. So that's what we're doing.
Luke, though, that wasn't close enough for shots fired, but I like that he's taking a few jabs at the champ. Get his attention a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, these are two guys that are making their way in the UFC without making waves. And as you can see, that is in some ways good and bad. It's good in the sense that you're not constantly mired in these crazy controversies for, outrageous behavior. Alas, at the same time, BC, that is a very great way to get the kind of forward momentum in your career in this business that you sometimes need. This was not so crazy. This was not particularly outrageous, but to the point you raised, finally banging the pots and pans, as I like to say.
Like
St. Anger's
going on. Lars Ulrich on the St. Anger recordings. You know what I'm saying? What I wanted to ask you related to this title picture is, I think we all would have assumed that Volk versus either Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evloev would have been announced by now. It's not. What is the holdup? Is it the cooking show on YouTube, Luke, to the great success and clicks, or what do we got going on here?
I think they want to save him for Australia, right? And they haven't announced anything even starting in the Paramount era at all. So yeah, I just think we're in a, listen, the most important way to understand the UFC product is simply to understand that the calendar needs come first and then everything else second, So
all right. Well, we've got those two names at the top here. We've got some second level guys like Aljo trying to get back on top. Youssef Zalal, Arnold Allen, if he can get back in there, still top level. But after that, there are a lot of retreads in the mix, although I'm sure Lord Silva will be heard from again. So big opportunity here for either man. Let's talk a little bit more about David Onama as he comes in 14-2 record on a 4-fight win streak, as I mentioned, 6 of 7 overall, 11 stoppages and 14 wins, 6 in the first round. And Luke, he comes here by way of a victory over Giga Chikadze. Do you believe that he's done enough to really make this feel like a 50-50 action fight heading into Saturday?
Yeah, I absolutely think so, dude. Onama is a fun fighter. Now, he's a little bit more blood and guts than, well, it's okay. In certain ways can be a little bit more blood and guts because of the way which he fights. But dude, think about it. They're both southpaws. They're both kind of rangy, right? They both like to pressure forward. They both will fight in either boxing or kickboxing range, and that's where some of the differences begin to emerge. But they kind of like to forward press the action. Now, Onama seems to me a guy. This will, I think, will be one of the interesting tensions. BC, Onama to me likes to press forward, but is a little bit more selective and takes a little bit more time to set things up, whereas Garcia's got a lot of combination work. So, for example, he's really good about that left high kick. Then when he comes down, throwing that left hand and then the right hook behind it, he's just applying it all the time. And Onama seems like he's a little bit more thoughtful about it, although his activity rate is also pretty high too. But that can encompass a lot of things, sort of checking leg kicks. The point I'm trying to make is, I think that's going to be one of the central tensions: is who gets the other one to back up. Who's the one leading with volume? Who's the one, and not just pressuring in a general sense, but the other person can't get their rhythm going because they're being pressured out of it. The interesting part to me is to what extent Onama might go for takedowns. And Garcia's got pretty good takedown defense. Not the best I've ever seen, but good. And a decent ability to get up. This is going to be a really, these two guys do a lot of the same things. They have a similar-ish kind of frame, and a kind of the basic conditions under which they thrive are all pretty similar. So how does somebody win that? Well, one of them has to take that away from the other one. And in how they do that, given that they are seemingly so closely matched, that actually makes for, it's what we were talking about earlier, kind of an interesting tension.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, with Ante Delicia's, we'll talk about him in a second, recent rise, the connection to Aspinall, I was wondering if that should have been the main event, but there is a little bit more at stake, at least in the short-term future, in this one, considering both of these guys are ranked in the top 15, and both are looking to make that leap, not just into the top 10, but to legitimately become a name here. So we've got David Onama talking about what's at stake and what's on the line for him as he climbs the rankings.
It's going to be on the feet for me. I don't know what his game plan is, but I think most of the time it'll be standing, and yeah. A win over Steve Garcia will put me in the top 10, division for sure. You know, getting a win over him would definitely climb me up. You know, especially for a main event against a tough opponent. You know, it'll definitely put me in the top 10.
Interesting stuff. Hey, Long Island Luke is a huge fan of the risers on the prelims because he's doing bong rips on his podcast live during those fights to tell you about it. To see these two graduate to this point must be good to see, and hopefully one will break through in a big way. Where do we look at this from an odds standpoint with DraftKings, and how do you like this fight?
I mean, right now, Steve Garcia is minus 125, David Onama plus 105. So I feel like whatever way you're leaning, you got good value on either side. Personally, I want to stay away from the money line completely. I took the over 1.5 in a parlay. This is one of those fights where, like, Steve Garcia, especially most of his fights end by knockout, but I weirdly feel like this is going to go the distance. So prediction wise, I'm calling Steve Garcia by decision, which is kind of a wild take, but over 1.5 is my official play.
Dude, Garcia just knocks at the door more. You know what I mean? He's just constantly asking for an opportunity to use offense. And
he's like a Jehovah's Witness, right?
I mean, you know, like the Mormons are nice people, but they knock on the doors a lot. You know, they got a story to tell. But this is, I'm being serious. Like it's just, dude, it's a numbers game, honestly. And I'm not saying he throws an outrageous amount of volume, but he's always looking for stuff. And that honestly unlocks so many doors people don't otherwise get to walk through.
Yeah, indeed. Luke, we got Long Island's Luke take on here. I do like Garcia by an edge as well, so I think the odds are spot on. What has to happen here for Onama here to get this win? I mean, does it behoove him to make this a war?
I think I think something akin to what he got with Giga Chikadze, where he was tearing apart Giga's lead leg, which made him go southpaw. So then that part of that fight was fought that way. But really, it was 3 takedowns. And he didn't do necessarily a ton with them, but it obviously took the wind out of the sails of Giga's game. And I think Steve Garcia competes with a lot of intensity. And he maintains that intensity, as you saw in the Cater bout, for example, for fairly long periods as a consequence. And so for that reason, I just feel like, you know, it's worth considering just how important I think pressure is going to be here, but really mixing it up for me for Onama is going to be pretty crucial. He gets hit too much for a guy that finds ways to combine striking offense too easily for that to not be a factor. But if he can play that game a little bit and then bring in some of the other talents to bear, I think that is a winning formula for Onama. But can he execute it? We shall see.
Yeah, we're going to have to find that out on Saturday night. Let's talk about this co-main event. I do like it. Waldo Cortez Acosta had a 5-fight win streak and was kind of becoming an interesting option here at heavyweight. The salsa boy himself with his ground skills, with his aggressiveness. He's a little bit awkward as well. He had that streak snapped, of course, last fight by Sergey Pavlovich, but he enters a streaking Ante Delija, former PFL tournament champion, who made the incredible UFC debut with that first round destructive knockout last time out, getting the rub, of course, from training with Tom Aspinall. And we know the brewing storyline that Uncle Dana really doesn't like about these two, that, of course, Ante has eaten at Aspinall's table. He's met his family and kids. So Tom will not be fighting him no matter what. But at 35, walking trouble from Croatia. Luke, you saw what he did to Marcin Tybura last fight, who is a well-valued gatekeeper in this division. We asked how high the prospects were of him making a leap. Is that him? Is the guy that we saw? Can he continue to do that in this division against this level of competition?
Probably a decent chance at it. Yeah. I mean, to your point, Cortez Acosta had a good run up until recently, but it was kind of fighting some diggity donks. I mean, the Spivak win was pretty nice, right? I mean, the other ones, Ryan Spann blown up a little bit and stuff like that. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But Ante Delija, I mean, he fell short against Valentin Moldavsky, but otherwise has been, for the most part, more recently, pretty good, beating out some of the UFC vets along the way, smoking Renan Ferreira inside a round, I believe. So I would actually say that Delia's speed and ability to cover distance and certainly the experience that he has relative to Cortez Acosta is pretty good. Cortez Acosta, I don't know what you want to say. I wasn't a big believer, and then he ran that win streak into the Spivak win, and I was like, well, Pavlovich is kind of fallen off, and here comes Cortez Acosta, and then he couldn't get the job done. So I was like, well, I'm not so sure anymore. I don't think that D'Elia is that kind of a puncher, and I do think that makes a difference. But at heavyweight, they're all pretty big punchers, and he's a reasonably fast one. Yeah, I would say that there's a good case to think D'Elia can get this done here and even further.
Yeah. D'Elia likes to bang and not call you back, Luke. He doesn't care how old you are. But to talk about the heavyweight D'Elia, I have to agree with what you're saying right there. Good run from Waldo, but this feels like another setup to find out at 35, are you that guy that you look like in the first fight against Tabura? Quickly, Long Island, what do we have for odds on this one?
Sorry, I was so thrown off by that Chris D'Elia joke. I was just laughing so hard.
Oh God, is that what you made? I didn't understand what you were saying. Did you make a Chris D'Elia joke?
He said he'll bang him no matter what the age is or something. D'Elia minus 130, Cortez Acosta plus 110.
Okay. I mean, that's almost closer than I think it should be. Wow. Sorry. That was too cheesy. Okay. That's who you can send your letters to at morningcombat@gmail.com.
Honestly, you go in one ear and out the other. I wasn't listening to a fucking word you were saying. That
normally shows through and as the show progresses, just so you know. But Luke, seriously here, I like Waldo, but I feel like if Ante really is knocking on that door potentially in a shallow division of maybe becoming a thing at heavyweight, right? Pavlovich is kind of still a thing. Volkov, Blades lingering. We need more things in this division at this moment, whether it's Walter Walker, if he ever turns out to be real, or he's just sniffing feet. We'll find that out too. But Luke, does Cortez Acosta in your eyes have the game that can expose what Ante D'Elia, however you want to say it, doesn't do well? Is he a potential kryptonite, and that's why you're seeing him as such a slight underdog?
Yeah. Or I think people maybe wonder, did he hit his ceiling? With the Pavlovich fight, it's like, oh right, this streak was not fool's gold, but the buck stops here kind of situation. And D'Elia, obviously having done so well in PFL and coming over here, and he's still getting a bit of I'm not sure what it means right now, but getting a bit of an Aspinall rub, that sort of a thing. I think all of those factors are kind of working together, so to speak, to put the odds where they are. But it's, listen, I think it's also foolish to count out Cortez Acosta, BC. I mean, are we really suggesting that D'Elia is so much better that he's just going to go in there and just lay it down on this guy? Like, Cortez Acosta has a good chin. He's a little heavy, but pretty athletic, reasonably speaking anyway. He can take big punches, but he's, for the most part, halfway decent about getting out of the way of them. Like, there's a very good chance this one goes the distance because Cortez Acosta can slow it down, or D'Elia could overcommit with some of these blitzes. Like, I think it's a very, very competitive fight. I just feel like you're asking me, does D'Elia have what it takes to beat a guy of this caliber? The answer is I think so, but it's competitive.
I mean, he's proven that. And by the way, Long Island Luke reminding us that Cortez Acosta was the favorite for much of this fight week until just recently. But we do know Ante has wins over names we know, like Jorgen De Castro, Maurice Green, Mateus Scheffel when he was on that nice run there in PFL, Renan Fajeda. We talked about how he got here, Dennis Goitsev, all that. I think he's of this ilk. I'd almost rather, though, to find out how close he is to being a legit threat. I'd almost rather him have trouble trekking Waldo down, and this becomes a test of his cardio, a test of a lot of things. He's proven that at PFL before against names we just mentioned. But right here, right now, the lights are brighter. Not everybody, unfortunately, I'm talking about Patchy Mix, Aaron Pico, have made that transition from the other leagues to this one as smoothly, despite what our expectations were coming in. But Luke, what do you make about the friendship here between Aspinall and Ante? We've seen it before with DC and Cormier. Merab and Aljo are brothers for life. They live across the street from each other. It's not overly likely that A, D'Elia will get to that point, or B, Aspinall will still be there. We have no idea what's going to become of this heavyweight division. But what the hell? Like, if Tom literally gives up the belt, like, I'm sorry, I like Ante D'Elia a lot, but he ain't Kane, right? Like, when DC
that would be madness. That would be madness. I appreciate what they're saying to preserve the relationship, and maybe this will naturally sort itself out where we don't have to worry about this. For example, it never came to, because of St. Pierre, Koscheck and Fitch never really had to fight. There was a lot of pressure on them to fight at the same time when they were at AKA together. But the reality was, if it was ever going to happen, and they were adamant it wouldn't, but if it was ever to happen, it would only probably happen if one of them had the title and the other one was gunning for it, and they never got to that position. But here in the case of Aspinall and D'Elia, not only do you have a guy that, at least for now, is the champion, but the other guy doesn't seem that far away. To me, you need to make a decision. Either you can do the Kane and DC thing, which is that where you just go your separate ways to separate divisions, and that's what it has to be, or you have to fight each other, because this is not Koscheck and Fitch, where it's not really relevant as a concern. For now, anyway, could be very relevant. If he loses, who cares? If Aspinall loses, whatever. But if they keep winning, it only leads to one place. And the idea that people are just going to surrender a title out to avoid affecting this relationship, you're in this, like, you can't, what a silly thing to do at the highest level of the sport. This is not a jiu-jitsu tournament where you can just close out together and it's a win for the fucking team. Somebody has to take it from the other guy, not just walk away from it because we're trying to preserve something under those circumstances. Or, BC, preserve it, but then you guys have to just do other things with your life. That's the other answer.
I mean, I said it was unlikely because both would have to happen. You know, they would have to both stay on top. And is it D'Elia or D'Elia? What the hell? Long Island Luke, can you fix
I think
this
it's
in my
D'Elia.
brain?
I question it too. I think it's D'Elia. Yeah.
What did John Anik say in the last fight? That does.
I could pull up this sound file. Let me pull it up.
All right. Thank you so much. But at the same time, Luke, I don't know how long John Jones or Poetan are both going to be in this division. I don't know, if anyone will develop. It may end up happening if this dude keeps knocking out dudes, although it's only been one fight, and that was only against the gatekeeper level. I know a lot has to happen, but maybe it will if Aspinall really is that dude, and once he gets his vision changed, we're going to see a difference there, Luke, a big time difference. So,
yeah, I mean, the heavyweight division is in tatters if this is a thing we're talking about, but yes, you're right.
Yeah. Did you see, by the way, that Hamdi Abdel Wahab got cut for fighting
after quitting his job to go full time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't give him credit. He's got really nice pecs, Luke.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Not about his pecs. He wasn't. I did not think that he showed enough well-roundedness to merit staying on the roster.
You got Mick Parkin vibes.
Yeah, well, the thing I'm saying is, like, I don't know what the UFC is supposed to do, dude, because everybody coming up is kind of like a version of this. And, like, that's absolutely not a thing that you can sell a division around. So they're cutting people like this. And it's like, okay, great. But, like, where are the names of the guys up and coming who are a clear antidote to this? And I'm not sure what the answer is,
Yeah, sorry, Luke. And Long Island Luke did point out that you were correct this whole time. It's D'Elia, just like Prince Andrew.
Sorry. So I tried to write it phonetically, but it's D'Elia.
Delia.
I have the sound file, but it's M4A, and it won't let me load it in right here. But
thank
I
you.
wish I could.
Can we hear the other sound file of Ante Delia talking about the fallout of his teammate Tom Aspinall's disastrous soul poke from Cyril Gahn?
What were your reactions to how that fight finished?
I think he did a great job with not continuing, and if more fighters do the same thing, I think we can prevent the same thing from happening again. Absolutely, 100%. I think more fighters should do the same thing, and more fighters should be punished for behaving that way, and I do believe we're going to stop with that whatsoever. I really don't understand. I had 33 fights and I never poked somebody in the eye, and I do believe that the punishment for that should be severe.
Last week he said that he would never fight you for the title, that he would vacate the title for you. What was your reaction when he said that?
He's a really, really dear friend of mine, and I do believe with that statement he really showed his character. I would also not fight against him for the belt.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Aspinall will keep the belt and you won't fight against him. This idea that he would give it up,
dude, life is too short to live it this way. You got to have a better plan than this. This is not a good plan. This is a bad
side
plan.
with Dana. I side with Dana getting upset in this case. There are, in this case, not all.
I just feel like wait and see what they do when the time comes, because they'll say anything now, partly as a way to just signal allegiance. So it's like, okay, fine, let them say what they want to say. Maybe the reality is when the bill comes due that they change their tune. But as a general rule, if they maintain this, what kind of insane career self-sabotage this would be. Like, you can't live this way. If you guys both want to achieve things, you have to do them in different places. Like, that's just where you're at, you know?
Yeah, just fight for it. Luke, you put in the rundown, the winner of this could be a line for a title shot. What the hell are you talking about?
I don't think that's super crazy. I mean, not in front of Jones and Aspinall. Like,
Volkov has it above whatever happens here. Plus,
yeah, Volkov has it. That's
teammate
right. No,
problem,
you're right.
You know?
But I would caution. Like, maybe not with Cortez Acosta, but with D'Elia. None of these guys are like super popular attractions that have any kind of real sway. So that changes the argument. I guess I'm just pointing out, if they need to keep people busy, like, they'll call upon winners of fights like this as like, if Volkov gets injured and they want to move the title, cycle through. Now, again, we're sort of past a point where, the Jones thing has been settled one way or the other. He's fighting, he's not, whatever that situation is. But like, I'm just pointing out, it's they're team 65 in the tournament of 64, but they're on the bubble of being in a place where interesting things can happen very quickly for them, I guess is the way I put it.
All right. I'm going to pick Ante D'Elia. There's a 3-round fight, not a 5-rounder. I think it goes the distance too. I think we learn a lot more about him. And I really think he's fighting on the Blades Pavlovich level next fight, which, by the way, is the last stop before you're in that number 1 contender level with where the division is right now. Because he's seasoned, because he has that PFL experience against names, I'll agree that he's a lot closer. Waldo, no, but this guy's a lot closer, regardless of where that friendship situation stands. Luke, what else do you like on this card, if anything?
There are a couple gems up. I mean, gems is maybe a strong word. All right, so let's go through here a little bit and see what we like. Ketlin Vieira versus Norma Dumont is relevant. Number 4 versus number 5, essentially, or I think right around that in this division. So that's actually an important one. Talita Alankar, who is a great jiu-jitsu practitioner, is back. She's 6-1 at strawweight, taking on Ariane Carnelosi. I'm not sure if I pronounced the last name right. So you've got some interesting fights there. Phil Rowe, the Philly Fresh guy, is on this one. He's taking on a Korean donk by the name of Seok Hyun Ko. So there's going to be some interesting ones there. Now, I'm guessing, Long Island Luke, that you're partial to the Isaac Dolgarian and Yadier Del Valle fight. Am I wrong about that?
No, I was going to shout out the Phil Rowe Seok Ko fight. I mean, Ko's that guy who got the upset win over Oban Elliott in his UFC debut. Phil Rowe is just fun as hell. All of his wins come by finish.
Always good. Oh, by the way, Cedric Dumas is on this fucking card.
And the guy he's fighting is 6-0 with 6 first-round knockouts. So he might get his lights put out pretty early.
What does it take to get released from your UFC deal? I honestly don't know the answer to that anymore.
Sam Alvey went 9 straight fights without a win, and they didn't really.
Yeah, but he also wasn't like accused.
True.
I'm saying.
Very
accused of committing allegedly fairly heinous crimes during that time. You know what I'm saying?
How about Charles Radke versus Daniel Frunza? Could be fun just because they both get finished a lot and they both.
Radke's the Magadonk.
Yeah, You know, I don't agree.
I mean, look, they all are. I mean,
no, but some are more in your face about it. I remember the Canadians booing the shit out of him, right?
He said, if I don't remember what kind of slur, but he definitely said a slur in one of his post-fight interviews. So.
Radke or not Radke, I forgot. Anyway, 2 things I'm looking at. One, Montserrat Ruiz, Luke, brings her 3-fight losing skid back to the cage. Remember when Cheyenne was going to follow that bitch home?
Yes, you more so than I, but okay. Yes.
And what about in this fight before the co-main event, Jeremiah Wells against Themba Garimbo? Garimbo has been making news this week and seemingly pissing everyone off. Wasn't he the guy who had his Fix Your House with the Rock? He won that show, and then and now he's saying that he needs to feed his kids, so he's willing to kill a man in the cage if necessary. He said that at Media Day this week.
Yeah, he fought a bunch in 2024. He fought 1, 2, 3, 4 times. losing ultimately to Vicente Luque in the first round. This is his first fight back. Jeremiah Wells, good athlete, powerful physical athlete. I think sometimes gets a little bit over in front of his skis with the kind of aggression he likes to go for, but certainly a sturdy challenge. This one is probably fun, but the Garimbo situation, he's had a weird UFC run, right? Where The Rock was like, here's a house, and you're like, oh, this is incredible, like feel good story. And he did do well, but like I feel like some of that shine has fizzled along the way.
He got finished in his last fight in like under a minute by Vicente Luque.
That's what I said. Well, I didn't say under a minute, but by Vicente Luque, he subbed him out.
I feel like it's dropped since then, but he was kind of hyped up before.
Yeah.
All right, there's a few weird storylines. I mean, if they let Dumas fighting with the low jack on, I love that, Luke. That's just like some raw weight state.
Dude, they did that at
shit,
BKFC. Right? The fucking guys had ankle monitors. No, I think he got to take it. The judge had him take it off.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, dude, this is
well, that right there
this is the sport of kings. Oh my god, bro.
That right there is topic number 1 to look ahead to the weekend. Before we get to topic number 2, I did want to look back quickly last night. No assets to share, but Luke, did you see the couple second KO from Gable Steveson in the Dirty Boxing Nashville main event against probably the guy who set up the cage, but also your boy John Jones wearing an eye patch begging Dana for a White House fight?
Yeah, I don't care about that part. But the Gable Steveson part, I mean, obviously he's got, the worst past ever as well. Apparently all these fighters do today, but we're just assessing what he can do in the ring. The KO I didn't care about. He fought, whoever the fuck. It doesn't mean much. Did you see him jump over the fucking ropes?
No, I didn't see that. That sounds awesome.
Long Island Luke, did you see him do that?
All I saw was the Brian Battle finish. I didn't see anything else.
We can't. I don't know if there's any way for you to get a screenshot. I'm talking about the ropes of the actual dirty boxing. I don't know if I guess it's a ring.
It's a ring, yeah.
He knocks the guy out, and then he kind of turns around and celebrates, and then just runs, but just a few steps, and then in one jumps over the top fucking rope, and then lands like a fucking panther. I was like,
I wonder if DC wishes he could ever be that athletic. That's incredible. Luke, also on this card, Brian Battle had a wacky fight where he got hurt early, rallied back, and then landed that one more blow as his opponent was on his knees looking up at him. Do you know his opponent was that dude in the Diaz camp who brawled with Masvidal's coach at that presser that I was at?
He is?
Yeah, the dude with the red hair. I think that's the same dude. Also, and this was one of the more feel-good wins that I've seen in a long time to a great guy. Former Bellator MMA upset star, Big Tuna, Ben Parrish, who has bounced around in recent years, had some ups, had some downs. Dude, he looked real good last night on Dirty Boxing, got a first-round KO. I'm talking about, like, Big Tuna 2.0, the era begins. You know what I'm saying?
We're big fans of Big Tuna. Happy to hear that. He's always had good hands. He's always been a guy who put them on you if you stand around long enough. So shouts to Ben Parrish. I'm glad to hear he got the win.
Yeah, great work out there, Big Tuna. Also good stuff. Also, real quick, Michaela Mayer moved up to 154 last night for Top Rank, and
did she win? I didn't even see.
Won the Unified Championship, her third weight title. She won a title at 130, 147, now 154 at 35. And on top of her game, you got to give her credit for that.
Who called the fights?
It was on the Top Rank Classics, like Tubi or Fast Networks channel.
I've seen I didn't see the single highlight on my timeline. Nothing.
Here's the best I could get.
Bro, look at this shit. What the fuck? He just goes right over it. I was like,
that's sick. That is
insane.
Sick.
That's insane.
All right, let's go to topic number 2. These are real credible reports from credible reporters and not just another wacky carnival announcement possibly here. Those reports surfacing saying that Netflix is interested in a rematch of the biggest boxing matchup financially of all time, the 2015 mega fight between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, to the point that there's even talk that it could be at the Sphere in Las Vegas. So Netflix loves the carnival stuff right now. Luke, the bigger picture, because I haven't heard a damn person yet say they would be all for this, because obviously what is Floyd 48, Manny 40, or just turning 47 shortly. And it would be a real fight, by the way. what does this say about the state of boxing in general? I mean, we're coming up on a Jake Tank fight that not a damn person wants or cares about, and the very disturbing news of yet another domestic violence-based lawsuit filed against Gervonta Davis only makes that worse. It's carnival season here. Boxing feels like it's in the toilet until we see what Turkey and TKO have next year. But what does it say about boxing that Netflix would want this over Benavidez Beterbiev? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, this is I'm starting to get some kind of like fair. All right, maybe this is doom and gloom. I wouldn't be the first time I had a doom and gloom prediction, BC. Right? Wouldn't be the first, probably won't be the last. So by all means, take this with a grain of salt. Let me just tell you what I'm not even saying this is what I fully agree with, but what's swirling around my head, which is, dude, I just cannot get out of my head the parallels that I think might be there to late 90s, early 2000s Japanese MMA. And of course, there's very, very many, many different circumstances between the two, like a ton. There's a lot of things that don't overlap about them. But the point I'm trying to make is I thought that boxing could tolerate the kind of Jake Paul thing as a sideshow. And I'm not even trying to be demeaning. What I'm trying to say is there is like the relevant side of the sport, and people who, the most people will care about this. And if there's this kind of extra audience that has some boxing fans, but some that are not, that are interested in this kind of, again, what do you want to call it? YouTube boxer side of things, whatever, then that's fine. And they don't need to really compete. They don't really compete. They're just kind of serving somewhat overlapping, but ultimately pretty different audiences. And now I'm not sure I believe that anymore. Now I think that it might be, it's not like what Jake is doing is like he's ruining boxing. He is a symptom of a diseased kind of sport. Like his ascension shouldn't be possible in an otherwise healthy system. When I say ascension, I don't mean just having some kind of role. Dude, like he fucking fought in front of 100 million people with Mike Tyson on Netflix. Like I'm not even doing a bit. Boxing just basically doesn't get much bigger than that, not in terms of audience size. I mean, that was a huge fight. I mean, the answers look like, Mayweather-Pacquiao 1 was bigger. You know what I'm saying, BC? But the point I'm trying to say is it feels like there are no stars in boxing, particularly American boxing, and what the people who want big events are being forced to do is play the hits. They're having versus battles between No Limit and who's the other one from New Orleans? Cash Money Records, right? I mean, it just feels like you're just playing the old hits again because nobody is making anything new that matters
we're
anymore.
the Running Man, Luke. That's all people do these days. You know what I mean?
Well, don't you feel like that is? It's not just it's the problem is, what does that say about the sport?
Yes,
dude. 2015's Mayweather-Pacquiao 1 was late. There was consternation in 2015. BC, you were there. I was there. You remember this. People were like, this fight's happening a little late. It's happening a little late. And then Pacquiao's shoulders fucked up. The fight was a bit of a dud. And people were
they were 38 and 36 age-wise in the first fight, despite the fact that they were still 1 and 2 pound for pound. But yeah, I mean, 5.5, 6 years is probably aggressive. A legit 4 years too late.
Yeah. So my point I'm trying to make is now we're 10 years, about to be 11 years after that, and they're asking to bring that back. Dude, we were there when Floyd fought Logan, and Logan, is obviously a pretty good athlete, but Floyd couldn't put him away, and even said after in the post-fight presser, I'm done with real bouts. Like, I'll do this, fun influencer stuff or whatever, but like, I'm not doing this. I wouldn't fight a real boxer anymore. He was like kind of humble about it, which I don't ever say about Floyd Mayweather. And he was humble about it. And here we're doing this, dude. To me, like, if there were huge bouts happening in conjunction with this, I don't know that I would care. But these are the only, seemingly, I know we just had Kendall Crawford, but like these kinds of things, and the Netflix is pining for it. Dude, it makes me feel a little weird about the state of the fucking sport, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm with you completely. Turkey's been quiet lately. Like when he's putting on bangers, since he controls these days the majority of the star fighters in the game, of course. I don't feel this way as much, and obviously that big ring card coming out at the end of November is very good with Benavidez in the main event and Haney versus Norman. But yeah, look, here's the problem. Okay. I mean, the problem is the fight's unnecessary. They're too old. And if it was an exhibition, I'd hate it more, but I also hate it as a real fight. If only, to be honest, if only Manny Pacquiao, who got a draw against welterweight title holder Mario Barrios earlier this year, if only he had won, and rightfully he should have, if you rewatch that fight and score it, he kind of got a raw deal. We talked about that a lot. At least we would have this, a rematch with the actual world title at stake and Floyd's unbeaten record. And even though, yes, it's an old guy sideshow, that just happens sometimes. The legend of Pacquiao stumbled into a real title, and it was enough to get Floyd back in shape. And here we go. It's both at the same time. It really does matter, and it's a complete sideshow. But just because of that one little change and the judges scoring it a draw rather than a Manny victory, it's now a complete sideshow. And these are the marquee fights. Like I've said it from the beginning. I really hope Jake Tank doesn't happen. It's just not necessary. I guess I want to say in the arc of Gervonta Davis, but the arc of Gervonta Davis is going downhill repeatedly, not just in his outside the ring stuff, but he was uninspired and overwhelmed against Roach. He talked about retirement coming into that anyway. He's obviously holding up really big fights that could be happening in boxing, including the Shakur Stevenson one. But at this point, it's like, how many more times could he get caught for the same thing or accused of the same thing? And we're just going to sit here and be okay with it. You add that onto a fight that no one wants and the ticket sales aren't moving. Makes me feel bad, Luke. It makes me feel bad. I mean, I didn't feel great being at that Danny Garcia finale, which was very underpopulated. I don't feel great that every week the last 2 months we're like, where the hell is this sport? I know we got some decent fights coming up, Lubin, Ortiz, like, there's some one-offs coming up, Ben versus Eubank too. But damn, man.
Can I ask a question?
This is a show for questions, Luke.
Long Island Luke, I would like to get your impression here too. Let's combine this conversation with what we've talked about with Topology, where at least in the dominant 3 markets in MMA, maybe some other ones, but certainly the dominant ones, that the number of overall events are declining. Are people becoming less interested in combat sports after a boom period?
I don't think it's after a
2005 to 2019, even throw parts of the pandemic in there too, obviously, but certainly that period was one of the most explosive growth periods of combat sports in my life.
Yeah, but it was also like so new at at least for UFC. We're talking boxing as well. Like, the UFC in 2005 is what, 12 years old. So it's like, it was so new at that point. I don't know, man. I do think it's going down a lull right now, but I do think it's going to come back up.
I think the Paramount kickoff will help UFC, and hopefully they can maintain that. I think overall, Luke, the warehouse cards, all the stuff that we complained about the last 2 years, to some degree has watered down the MMA.
Yeah, but this is boxing too. You can't blame
I'm
shit
getting
on
to
this on
boxing.
UFC.
I'm saying it's definitely watered down the crossover cultural appeal. Partly is, of course, UFC not building up stars as aggressively, but on the flip side, but not only was UFC red hot post-pandemic, boxing was pretty damn red hot in 2023 with all those big fights, Tank versus Ryan, Spence Crawford, what have you. I think, I'm going to be really honest, I think as good as Turkey has done in not only bringing big fights together that we always say probably wouldn't have because of the money, and if it works out, unionizing and organizing the sport under one entity, which is the goal. The biggest fail in that has been keeping all the big fights on DAZN pay-per-view, where you have to have a DAZN subscription to order it, and not putting stuff on national television, not doing enough Netflix shows until his first one there, Canelo Crawford, which was a major success. I think that's really put boxing deeper into the niche bowl. Showtime going away as well didn't help that. Top Rank can't get a TV deal. Here we are. I don't think that means it's dead and not coming back, but it's a low period. And if you're somebody who wants to be a boxing fan, but they make it difficult for you, and you hated Tyson Paul, rightfully so, and you're probably going to hate Mayweather-Pacquiao too, as much as you're going to hate Jake Tank. So this is what we got, okay? Because if you don't, that's the problem with being on DAZN. I've always been honest with that. DAZN, The only people in America on DAZN are boxing fans. That's it. That is it. No one's stumbling across that like they might on their Amazon Prime menu. Or you got to say Netflix does a good job of putting fights in front of you. My wife out of nowhere 2 days ago was like, so let's talk about Gervonta Davis's tattoos. I'm like, what? What?
Mm.
Like what? How did we? And then I'm like, oh, the Netflix effect. Yes,
I'm just telling you, like they're the ones being like, okay, we want to have a big boxing event. Let's go get Mayweather and fucking Pacquiao as they bang 50's door down. Like,
well, it's a bunch of executives going, but Tyson got us a lot. These guys can probably get close to that, right?
okay, but who are the other boxers who could do that are active and ranked?
Well, we would have that if they fought each other, and I hope they will soon. I hope,
but they don't, motherfucker. That's what I'm saying. Like, they
well,
don't,
some of them have had problems. Tank's had problems. Ryan's had problems. Like these are the guys that are usually responsible for these really big fights. Spence never fought again. Bud fought.
Well, in fairness, Tank
twice.
and Ryan fought each other, but I know what you mean. Like, in general, yeah.
No, but they fought each other, and then they both kind of went away lately in terms of of mattering. So
for sure.
Yeah, it sucks, and that's all I have to say about it. Do you got that Rayfield tweet? Do we have any other info about this? This is
what he reported.
10 years. Yeah, all right. The fight is contemplated as an official match. Yep, not an exhibition. These talks are real, the source said, but who knows if it'll get done. So Luke, simultaneously, of course, Manny Pacquiao is also publicly entertaining an exhibition match with a retired Vasily Lomachenko that I have to say, Manny, you just fought for a title at 46. If you got Loma out of retirement, who's in his early 40s, and you did this just as a legit fun kind of mini super fight, I'd be all for it. You put that exhibition tag on there, miss me with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, I don't want this. Also, it seems that this Maypac 2 talk has rightfully killed whatever that Floyd Mayweather versus Tyson exhibition idea was that inevitably would have sucked too. So there we are.
That's good. I mean, I'll take Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 over Mayweather-Tyson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if it's a real bout. I don't want that either. Dude, what are we doing? Why are guys near? I mean, dude, how much money does Pacquiao owe? Does he owe a ton of money? I know taxes.
I don't know his financial situation, but somebody should check Michael Kontz's bank accounts in Sweden. Okay, thank you. His old financial guy. I mean, Top Rank's on freaking Top Rank Classics at the moment. This sport is in chaos. Maybe Dana is the savior we need, Luke.
I don't know if chaos is the word or free fall, but it's in trouble.
Yeah, free falling. But you can't kill it. Larry Merchant was right. You can't kill it. There'll be another super fight around the corner. I just hope the guys are under 40. I really do. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Topic number 3. Talk about this for a viral podcast. Burnt Chrysler's got a godforsaken show.
Can you imagine going on his podcast and thinking this is a good idea?
The worst laugh of all time. Luckily, he kept his shirt on, but he welcomed Ronda Rousey. And I was just going to say, man, Ronda Rousey has done some interviews lately, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't piss me off, and I was like, I get where she's coming from. Now, granted, those interviews were about pro wrestling. This was about MMA, and this riled a few people that already didn't like Ronda Rousey, rightfully so, up. Namely, that she still appears to be at odds with both MMA fans and MMA media and MMA fandom in general. She also dropped a doogie on Joe Rogan that was kind of surprising. To the level here that before we get Luke's take, we kind of had to call in our friends from Cuervo because Spicy Ronda getting rowdy, like shots fired style. This shots fired segment, of course, brought to you by Cuervo. Now is a good time to enjoy tequila that invented tequila. And we are probably right around the corner here, by the way, from UFC 322. Pre-game preview, MK with Cuervo. So get ready. Here is first Ronda Rousey talking about Joe Rogan with Burnt Chrysler.
Is there a price point that would get you back in the octagon?
I mean, I have everything I want. There's nothing that would really change my life.
Let's do price points on this.
Okay, $1 billion.
150 million.
$1 billion.
$350 million.
Billion.
You're just fighting Burnt Chrysler.
All right. I will beat the shit out of you in your backyard for this house.
How long do I get to train? I was just talking to Joe on the walk over. How long for me to train to beat Ronda? That'll never happen.
He wouldn't know. He's not an expert. He's a fan with an audience.
That's interesting. Is that how you feel about you?
Never fought.
He fought Taekwondo, right?
Never fought. That's not fighting. It's not fighting.
Well, I'm going to exit this conversation. No,
I don't want you to get any bad DMs. We need to get out.
Wow. Wow. We got one more piece of content to show you.
Dude, I
Then
don't watch a lot of Burnt Chrysler content because
Or any.
I'm not a
You're not Mikey.
I'm not a masochist in that way. He can't have I mean, we all do it to an extent, but like I've never seen a guy who cannot have a conversation at every interval without telling the other person he's interviewing about his life every single time.
Yeah.
It's a little bit now and again. It's fine. Everyone but it's like every fucking interval. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, true stars make it all about themselves in this industry, Luke. We've seen that many
you're right.
times. Ronda, though, upset about this specific point with MMA fans. The idea that they only love you when you're unbeaten and you're dominating and you're winning, but they instantly hate you when you lose. Or maybe it's because of the way you acted. Hey, here's Ronda talking about it.
MMA fans and media are the most "what have you done for us lately" crowd of any sport. Like you look at WWE and they have such a reverence for their legends. And at MMA, it's like the second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit. Chuck Liddell, when he's on top, oh my God, he's the best. The second that he loses, oh, Chuck Liddell ain't shit. He never was shit. Rampage Jackson, oh my God, he's the next Mike Tyson. He's so great. Second he loses, oh, Rampage ain't shit. He never was shit.
Yeah.
GSP, oh, he loses, he's not shit. He never was shit. And I think the only reason that why MMA fans have their lips so firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock is because he retired before he reached his limit. And if he kept fighting until he reached his limit, everybody would be like, oh, Khabib ain't shit. He never was shit. And they're like that with everybody. Like name one person.
I mean,
Brock ain't shit. He never was shit. Name one past champion that has that the kind of respect that the current champions do. It's really sad because I think it encourages people to try and get out while they're peaking and taking all of that equity with them instead of passing it on to whoever's next to take up the mantle. I wanted to retire undefeated because I was so afraid of like, oh, everything that I've accomplished is going to be nothing if I ever lose. So I have to retire undefeated.
So that was Shots Fired, brought to you by Cuervo. Now's a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila. Luke Thomas, does she have a point? No.
You go first then.
Okay. Does she have a point in general that MMA doesn't love their legends like they do, and she's saying in WWE or in other sports? To some degree, I could say that's true, but that's not a MMA media or fan problem. It's kind of just the way UFC promotes. Yes, they got a Hall of Fame. Yes, there's legends still employed like DC on commentary, etc. But they're not really about the past. They're always about the future and what's next. Always. And they expand and they grow and look at where they are. Now, I don't always love that. I love comparing things to the past. I love, but they don't parade legends around typically on that level. I love what Jose Aldo got in Brazil when him and his family got to retire for real there. There's some moments like that. The recent send-offs to Robbie Lawler, people like that have been great. The other point I object with is she said we're such a community of what have you done for me lately? That's combat sports, Ronda, because you don't have 162 game seasons here. You have 2 fights a year if we're lucky with the stars, right? 3 fights are great. Kevin Holland, but that's it, right? So automatically, it's always going to be hypercritical of what you've done for me lately, because whatever you've done for me lately is who you are. I know you can have bad nights, but that's all we have to judge you off. This is not a problem of everyone turned on her because she lost. This is a problem because she turned on everybody with the way she handled losing. And I'm not trying to downplay the depression and even near suicide thoughts she had in the immediacy of that loss, because try to imagine being in her shoes at that time and where her head was and her fame was and all of that. I get it all. She imploded, but I get it all. But when she acts so abrasively and has, I'll fight Nunes, but only under the most protected ways of I'm only going to talk to Ramona Shelburne and that's it, and F everyone else. Like, this is on you. You disappeared. This ain't on us. It's disappointing to see this, Luke, because in some ways it's misdirected, but I think if she actually showed that she cares about her MMA legacy and the sport today and showed up and acted like we don't actually need her to come back and fight. What she accomplished will always be in stone what it was. An amazing star and pioneer in every sense of the word. But she's the one that's been in hiding and been angrily aggressive towards this business. Come back, act human, and I think it would embrace her. We do love legends in this game. And also, maybe talk to your boy Dana. They should do a little bit more to parade what was. I agree with that. But that's not everything in this game. The respect you build with the audience, F the media. We're fickle. The respect you build with the audience, that's what should matter. You can invest back in that if you want, but you got to be there. You got to try.
I think you make some pretty good points. I will say, and I'm sure you agree with this, it is, no matter what you want to say in terms of who's responsible for what, it is very regrettable that Ronda, and a legend of the game and pioneer in many ways, and what she did, or certainly, whatever you want to say she did, was an enormously important chapter in MMA's history and development, that the person largely responsible for that can't be celebrated by the MMA community. Now, you might be point out, well, she didn't let herself be, and I understand that, but I'm saying just how fractured and broken it is very regrettable, and I wish it was not this way. For her sake and for MMA's sake, I wish it was not this way. I think you raised some good points, BC. I do. It's the nature of combat sports. I will say, MMA fans, I mean, look how fast they're turning on Tom Aspinall and others. Like, I understand your point that the limited volume of competition results kind of exacerbates it, but culturally, there's like a victim blaming culture in MMA as well. And, that's part of it. On the other hand, I was there, not when she lost to Holly Holm, but I remember the aftermath of it. And if you don't, she took that loss very poorly. And then for the Amanda Nunes fight, because people might not remember this, BC, but for the Amanda Nunes fight, she wouldn't talk to MMA media at all. As you indicated, she would only talk to Ramona Shelburne. And did you hear Ariel caught some strays in this interview? I'm not sure if you heard it, BC.
No.
She was, because Bert brings him up, and then she's like, what was the last time I've gone on his show? What does that say? But she was making a point not just about him, but about all of MMA media.
Yeah.
Something to be said for that, dude. I mean, I've kind of, it's hard to do both interviewing with fighters as well as being critical of them. And it's not for the reason people think, which is, oh, they'll get mad at you. Well, I mean, yes, they will get mad at you, but it's the manager and them. They'll just decide to stop talking to you. So you have a very difficult balance to strike, which is, how do you maintain a professional relationship with an entity when you're very critical of them and they're very sensitive about this. Now, if you're big enough, they kind of just get over it. Many of them do. Many of them seem to just kind of find a way to live with it. But I can just tell you from personal experience, it is a great source of constant problems. So you kind of have to just pick a lane, honestly. And, everyone picks their own. But I sort of get what she's saying about that. She's like, why am I going to be doing interviews with people who are critical of me? And my answer is, I don't think that's a great response, but that is so typical of how the industry functions. To be.
That's why I say don't worry about the media, because half of them are just fickle for the sake of it.
Yeah, but she combines the two. She doesn't.
She made it worse.
She sees it. She sees them as interconnected.
Right, and they're not. And also, it's our job to be critical. Also, like, embrace your MMA, what you've accomplished. Embrace that. I don't know. Duncan on Podcaster, she didn't throw Schaub's name in there, right?
No, I mean, you heard her go after Rogan here, and it's like, dude, do you remember this too? So after she loses, and then there is, Holly's competing, and Ronda came back for the Amanda Nunes fight, they weren't allowed to show highlights of her win over Ronda. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying I got a memo where they had said that policy. I distinctly recall, if you go back and look at the trailer used to promote the Amanda Nunes fight, there's no footage of that loss that appears. Now, they make reference to it and things like that, but they don't actually show her getting head kicked. It was such a big deal for her. She didn't even want to be exposed to the highlights. And again, I'm sure it's painful. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, BC, on the one hand, I do think there's kind of the sport is somewhat abusive to its stars, and in a way that it shouldn't be. And I think we should say that. On the other hand, she seems to be reacting very negatively to things that definitely have a negative reaction among fighters generally, but her response is, even relative to them, outsized.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the problem. You might say, oh, she gets more of the, the invective than the other ones. Yeah, she probably does. But dude, I mean, I'm sorry, BC, tell me what I'm about to say is wrong to the audience. You can't believe the level of positive press an MMA fighter has gotten in their lives until you've seen Ronda Rousey. Connor BC maybe have gotten, a lot of that too, but like, as a breaking barriers and, changing the face of women's sports. And dude, she got more positive press than I've ever seen an MMA fighter get. And for her to be like, oh, the MMA fans and the media were critical. It's like, I mean, what the fuck you want us to say? You got head kicked in Australia after taking an opponent lightly. Like,
yeah. And then we never heard from you again. Literally never heard from you.
Yeah, literally.
I'm not saying she owes all these reporters interviews. I'm just saying, like,
no, she doesn't owe us shit.
But when you go away and you're angry to us about it, you're not going to get good coverage. It just kind of is what it is. It's tied together. All right,
also,
we got to move the show.
Talking to Burnt Chrysler for an hour and a half.
I don't know how did that even happen? Like, that's just like that podcast is like when you trust a fart, right? You know what I mean? Like, this is the last time I'm going to do that. The last freaking time, right?
You should change the name of it to Dutch Oven.
Yeah. All right. Hey, speaking of nothing. Speaking of the time, right? I earned these tattoos. I want you to know that. Now is a good time to remember the story where tequila's story truly began, because in 1795, folks, Cuervo invented tequila. And since then, all Cuervo has done is stayed true to its roots. Same family, same land, same passion. 230 years later, Cuervo's still right here where you need them, in every pour, in every margarita, in every celebration. So enjoy the tequila that started it all, Cuervo. The tequila that invented tequila, ProximoCuervo.com. Please drink responsibly. And Luke, maybe it's time we tell the people for real that we're not too far away from MSG Fight Week, Thursday of that week. Coming up, what is that, November 13th?
I think that's right.
11 a.m. Eastern, live from Meadowlark in Manhattan. LTBC and Oscar Willis of MacLife fame hitting you up the middle with a pregame preview brought to you by Cuervo. Let's go.
Yeah, he is definitely HIV positive. I want to be very clear about that.
Let's go. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's get into the next topic. Topic number 4. Hey, PFL, can you hold on to your best assets here, please? Larissa Pacheco, who famously beat Kayla Harrison in their trilogy and is a 2-time PFL tournament champion, although she hasn't fought since that loss to Chris Cyborg in that big pay-per-view card. According to Pacheco, the PFL has released her from her contract this week, despite already having a fight booked against Julia Budd. Why did PFL do this? And does it even make sense, LT? Because Larissa has now gone on social media and outright begged Dana White for a job and a return to the UFC where she's been before. The quote here from Pacheco is, PFL reached out to me a month ago. They were going to send me a date, possibly against Julia Budd. So we waited, and then they were no longer interested in doing another fight and keeping the division going, and that they were releasing me. The reason they gave me was that there were no other fighters left. It was just me, Sarah Collins, who's fighting Cyborg now, who's 6-0 in Cyborg. I was supposed to fight Julia one more time. Cyborg would fight that girl. She'd defend her title, and then I'd have the chance for my rematch afterwards, obviously against Cyborg. She says PFL told Cyborg it was her last fight was against me. She'd retire early, that she had no interest in fighting me again. So I said, all right, that's what happened. They released me, even though I still had 2 fights left on my contract. LT, is it as simple as they don't want to employ that division anymore? Because she's one of the, you could argue that she's one of like the 7 best women in this, on this planet, in this sport. I mean, she's really
dude, but what
good.
does it do for your bottom line? PFL, you look at what they're doing, dude. They keep, I'm not against it. I support it, but they basically keep trying to simplify. Like PFL came out with this thing like, oh, matchmakers and promoters are unfair. We're going to take that out of it. And there's so many fighters who are underserved based on one circumstance or the other. We're going to be the antidote to that. And that is fun for a while, but at some point you realize you're supporting losing causes and that these have to be shed, because yes, it differentiates your product, but the other people in the space don't use it because it ultimately also doesn't work, or maybe they can make it work for reasons that other entities cannot. Dude, if you're trying to make your product as lean and mean and sellable as possible. If you wanted to actually grow a fan base, and I know they've got new leadership there at PFL, and they, they're trying to simplify the product and make it more accessible, and all of these kinds of efforts, which I generally support. Why on earth would you float a division where Cyborg has one left, and after that, what do you have? You have nothing. You have to make very, very, very tough choices if you're the PFL, I believe, about what kinds of parts of our what is our product going to be, and to what extent should that be informed by what we can sell as the most dynamic parts of MMA to the broader audience. Because everything they've done, it's not like they haven't put on good fights, BC. They have. It's not like they haven't developed good fighters. They have. It's not like they haven't done interesting things. They have. But they are this far into their run, and they have no domestic fan base. And they've got 1 year left on ESPN that will happen outside of the UFC Halo, which, by the way, if the UFC Halo goes, to what extent will ESPN cover MMA at all? We simply do not know the answer to that, but I suspect if you're PFL, you might be a little bit worried about it. You need to make very careful decisions. I am sorry, I really am, that Pacheco got hung out to dry. It sucks that they told her one thing and then, that they pull out the rug from underneath her. I don't wish it upon her. She has value for UFC. But I also just think people need to be somewhat realistic about PFL, not so much in the way that they handled it per se, BC, but like if they're going to get rid of this division and they've got one left with Cyborg, why on earth would they retain her services? And honestly, getting rid of the division in a world where Cyborg is no longer there and won't fight Pacheco, it makes all the sense in the world to me. It's just unfortunate that someone this good got left in this position, and I'm obviously unhappy about that.
Yeah, so Pacheco's 32 years old. She had a 10-fight win streak between her loss to Kayla Harrison in their second fight and the loss to Chris Cyborg in her most recent fight, winning 2 tournament titles in between. She fought at lightweight and featherweight, and she did have a 2-fight UFC run back when she was 21 years old, lost both fights by stoppage, a submission loss to Jessica Andrade in 2014, and then a TKO loss in the second round to Jermaine Randami. So that's obviously high-level competition, but she's beaten some big names on the regional level as well that are in the UFC today. But here's the issue, Luke. Now should be the time that UFC does one of two things, in my opinion. Either brings back the featherweight division for women. Why? Because there's crazy depth? No, because I don't know how realistic it is for Kayla Harrison to keep making 35. We talk about this all the time. And you have her career rival, who she's fought 3 times and lost and suffered that huge upset loss to, who's also really good and one of the best in the world. Or you do the women's heavyweight bit. However you want to do it, I feel like you have to create space, because if they have no interest in it, and I'm not saying it's a overly financially huge decision to make, meaning as much as I would be interested in Kayla versus Pacheco 4, would mainstream MMA fans, I'm not sure. Luke, is there a chance she has nowhere to go? And is that why the video where she was essentially begging Dana went the way it went?
I'm not sure. I'm guessing. I'm not sure.
Okay. Long Island Luke reminding me that she was also on The Ultimate Fighter and got TKO'd by Macy Chazon back in the day. So she's come around as a fighter, but I mean, Luke, do you believe Kayla can keep making 35, or you don't care? Where are we at with this?
I mean, I cannot imagine she's got many more of those left in her.
All right.
It's shortening her fucking life. I would say 2, 3, what seems impossible, 2 maybe.
Do you think Cyborg ever fights in the UFC again?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, we do have Amanda coming back. Pacheco could be a name, but I don't know if she can make 135. That's probably the conversation to have. Let's close here, though, with topic number 5. And in honor of Halloween tonight, Tukey's night, okay? Let's talk some scary stuff. Let's talk what's scary inside mixed martial arts. Luke, we want to know, on your list, who are the top 5 scariest punchers in MMA or UFC history?
Okay, now Long Island, do you have a graphic for this?
Yeah, do you want me to show it at the beginning or wait till you name them?
No, do it now. Just show it up and I'll walk you through. All right, here are mine. Number 5. Y'all gonna this is a deep cut, but we're talking about like scary punchers, not best fighters, just scary punchers. Number 5, Drew McFedries was just absolutely hitting people's off switches in the 2000s and early 2010s. I mean, a frightening and devastating puncher. Limited fighter, but devastating. Need I say more, BC? At number 4, the H-bomb, Dan Henderson, please. I mean, you could put him higher on the list, but he's got to be on there. Anthony Rumble Johnson sent people to the shadow realm in ways that was absolutely terrifying. The Glover Teixeira KO, BC, where he sent his teeth flying and Glover had a good chin for a while, but not after this fight. Shane Carwin, if you've never seen him send Christian Welish's mouthpiece into fucking orbit, go take a look at that one.
Dude, he ruined Frank Mir brutally too.
Yes, a terrifying puncher. I mean, if he connected at all, it was curtains for you. And maybe the scariest of them all, BC, here in honor of Halloween, Francis fucking Ngannou, the Predator himself. Well, I mean, BC, just there are many KOs you could pick, but the Overeem KO was one of those times where you're like, I don't know if I just saw a man murdered on
best
live
KO,
television.
in my opinion, in MMA history. To this day, it's the most brutally ridiculous, violent, and he got a title shot a month later off of that. By the way,
I know. Long Island. After you see this list and BC's list, let's go over some names that we missed. Okay, let's do that.
Got you. I'm going to put up a poll too and have the fans vote on who has the better list.
Great idea. I'd love to see.
All right. Well, I wanted to make sure we had no duplicates. So I was digging a little deeper, but I think my list holds up to yours when we're talking about scary shit. Number 5, how about that featherweight freight train, Josh Emmett? Don't know about that man's power? See the Bryce Mitchell fight and then talk to me later, okay? Somebody help Bryce fix his nose, right? Number 4, a born finisher in kickboxing or MMA, the 2 division, maybe too soon to be 3 division champion, Alex Poatan Pajeda. He does have the one-touch sleep power. The guy does. When he puts that left hook on your chin, it's over. Obviously, he can kick as well. We had to put Chuck Liddell in here, right? I mean, nobody, maybe outside of Dan Hendo, who became known at the tail end of his career as just the guy who would cock that H-bomb right hand out there and threaten you with it. That's how Liddell kind of fought his whole career. You knew what was coming, and that one punch could separate you from your senses. I love the Babalu stoppage. Obviously, the Tito Ortiz knockout. Luke, number 2, Melvin Manhoef could kill a man inside of there. Maybe even a horse, right? That guy in his absolute prime, even when he was old, you know, you could on a wrong night walk into Sleepland, and he was known for that. He lived and died by it across a couple disciplines in mixed martial arts. And how about number 1, Mark Punt? I mean, I love when you're at a point in your career, pre-lawsuit, of course, where you're like, man, I'm just going to get fat and just live on my chin and my right hand. This is heavyweight MMA. If you haven't seen the first fight with Bigfoot Silva, it could change your life right now or make you never watch the sport again. What a bloodbath. All 5 of these gentlemen right here could do a little bit of what I like to call the 3 Z's on that bitch right there, okay? Put you all to sleep. Because I'm too cheesy.
Did you see Rap for the first time in 38 years has no song in the Billboard Top 40?
About time.
I think Rap has finally jumped the shark. Okay, here's who we missed for sure. We missed Robbie Lawler. For sure we missed him.
Yeah, he's the guy's freaking ruthless.
We missed Semtex Daly, another guy with again, we're not just talking about guys who are good strikers, right? Scary punchers. Long Island.
Okay, how about Stipe? How about the damn fireman?
I was gonna say Derek Lewis.
Whoa! You guys no sold that. No sold.
Yeah, because no, Stipe didn't. Yeah,
he's too well rounded to be considered a devastating puncher, and he's also not a devastating puncher. No,
I was trying to think a little more outside the box, so I went lower weight classes and women. How about Cyborg? I mean, come on.
Yes on Cyborg. Yes
early
on,
Cyborg. Yeah.
Yes on it. Jessica Andrade is probably one of the only women.
Big devastating puncher.
John Lineker, hands of stone. John
Lineker, great. John Dodson also had some serious pop.
Isn't there a guy that owns the UFC record for knockouts?
I think it's Derek Lewis.
Yeah, it might be.
Or Matt Brown. Doesn't Matt Brown weirdly own the record or something?
But he's got like elbow KOs and knee
I was talking about Derek Lewis, man. That guy's got one punch touch right there.
Yeah.
Who else?
I'm looking at the comments right now. People are saying Aspinall. I feel like it's too early.
I mean, Aspinall's more combo, right? In a lot of
ways. I mean, he's
speed and combo.
He's obviously a great puncher, but it's the jury. You have to have several where you just lay them out flat in one go.
Would you put Fedor in that category?
No.
Not even old Fedor?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not a puncher like that. No.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who else we're missing here.
John Lineker is the perfect sort of, Emmett embodies that too, but like John Lineker should have been in my top 5, man. Cause that, for the second half of his career, that's all you knew from him. That's all he was there to do.
Yes. Lineker is a great call. I mean, obviously he's not in the UFC anymore, but he did fight there, especially for the smaller guys as well. Would you put Ilya Topuria in there? He's a pretty devastating puncher.
Yeah, he's getting there, dude. He's freaking getting
You know
there.
what I mean? Like,
I still don't think of him like that, but the results are the way they are, right? Like,
I mean, the thing is, you can kind of say, well, the Volk one was whatever it was, and Charles is getting kind of old, and Max has been through it, but like no one had ever done that to Max, and he fucking did it. It's like,
damn, dude, Shane Carwin just had it.
People have no clue. Shane Carwin was terrifying.
No bits. Poor Schaub having to spar with that guy. Seriously, straight up.
No, I'm dead serious. I could not, dude. That's torture. I would not.
Good Lord.
Could you every and multiple times a week at that, dude? That is unfair. That's unfair to ask of a person.
Do you put Rampage in his prime?
He was a good puncher. He was a good boxer, but he wasn't like a devastating puncher in that way.
Okay.
No. Vitor Belfort had fast hands, but not exactly like a bomb kind of. Rumble Johnson was the 205 bomb thrower.
Rumble Johnson, dude.
Rumble. I had him in my list. He was.
Oh, you did? Yes. Yes.
He was. Yeah. There's my list. I mean, you got to have him on there. But I just feel like there's some deep cuts we're missing. Some guys who were limited fighters, but who could fucking punch.
I love those type of guys. It reminds me of Randall Bailey in boxing. Remember that dude? The end of his career, he just went to South Korea and was just knocking dudes flat.
Julian Jackson was, I think, my all-time favorite hard puncher. He was crushing people. It was insane.
Good stuff. Good stuff right there. All right, let's transition here. I wanted you guys to know that this podcast is sponsored by Total Wireless, the official wireless partner of UFC. And you know the drill. You'll be sharing those takedown highlights with your boys, and you need a wireless provider that's going to keep you close to the action to make sure those get through. With Total Wireless, you're covered by the Verizon 5G network. You don't have to worry about your connection being KO'd at the biggest moments. And while we don't normally say, hey, you know who's got my back? My wireless provider, like a coach in the corner. The thing is, Total Wireless really does. They're in your corner every second of the day, so you never miss a thing, keeping you covered for just $25 a month with 4 lines. And that doesn't mean they're going to sacrifice important things like speed. With Total, you get unlimited 5G data. You can stay ahead of the action and keep up with everything going down. Total also understands you can't afford those surprise blows. The ones you don't see coming, they'll knock you out. So how about this? Price guaranteed for 5 years, taxes and fees included. The best fighters, they don't make it to the octagon alone. They got that all in support along the way. So head into your local Total Wireless store today or visit totalwireless.com to find out what Total can do for you. 5G access requires a 5G capable device and a 5G service area. Monthly rate on the Total base 5G unlimited plan for new subscribers applies to the monthly rate for your plan. Additional terms apply. Please see that website for more details.
Where'd you shoplift those glasses from?
Yeah, Party City on that ass. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right.
What are y'all doing for Halloween tonight?
My kids are going to a Halloween party. They're seniors in high school, so they got they'll have the costume on. And at first I was like, "Hey, wife, let's go out to eat so we don't have to give out candy." But then she, talked me back into having goodwill for my community and the young kids, and so we're gonna probably make dinner and then give out candy like we should, right, Luke? We're civic providers.
Go see a movie and turn on the sprinklers.
Well, I wanted to see the movie, but it's like literally all Halloween gore, and lady, don't get down like that, Luke. All right.
I can't say what I want to say.
Luke, we got another segment here before we close with the fans. It's the second time this has ever happened. Okay. No one really likes putting a third person in the marriage bed, but in this case, we'll make a pass. This one's called A Trois.
A Trois, baby.
Did you hear that guy? Oh,
yes,
wow.
I heard
All
that
right.
stupid ass shit.
Here's how it works. I'm going to present Luke with 8 different categories and 3 answers. He has to rate them all from best to worst, or I'll let you know if that changes at all. Luke, topic number 1 here. Retroactive death pardons. Let's say you get the sickle. You get to decide who to bring back. Rank them in order from best to worst. John F. Kennedy, Sean Taylor of Redskins fame, or Chris Farley?
The answer is Sean Taylor, and I'll tell you why. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you guys double check this? I believe Sean Taylor was 24 when he was killed.
He was.
Like insanely young, and had his life, and he was fucking murdered. You know, I mean, obviously John F. Kennedy was fucking murdered too, but Chris Farley not so much. So Chris Farley's going to go last.
Whoa.
Well, I like Chris Farley more.
So wait, the one you're bringing back first is Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor, number 1.
Okay.
Or I should say number 21. But yes, he'd be first on this list. Man, fuck the Kennedys. Yeah, let's bring back Farley. Number 2, and then we'll JFK bringing up the rear.
Okay, there we go. RFK's uncle, he's back, Luke. There you go. All right, topic number 2 here on Orange A Trois. Arrange these from best to worst of UFC action fight classics. The 2015 Daniel Cormier Alexander Gustafsson light heavyweight title bout. The 2020 all-female, all-banger in the first meeting between Weili and Joanna, not for a title. And 2018, the first meeting between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje at lightweight. Rank these from best to worst, Luke.
Wow, that's a tough one. These are all phenomenal fights.
And you must explain your answer, sir.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go B, Weili and Joanna, number 1.
Look, she had a growth on her face and her head.
It's the best women's fight I've ever seen. I think you have to put that above very, very good men's fights. But, you know, okay, so I'm going to go with that one, number 1. Now, this is where it gets dicey. I feel like most people would say Poirier Gaethje. And I think if you've got that as number 2, I can't really argue with it. Because what I'm going to say is, from a sentimental perspective, this is what the Cormier Gustafsson is maybe my favorite Cormier fight, and not because he does win, but dude, he got pushed. He got pushed big time, and that fight nearly got away from him a couple of times, and he had to really show his quality. Poirier had to do that against Gaethje too, and it was more blood and guts, I think, honestly, rather than, you know, I think what I liked about Cormier and Gustafsson, that was for a title. You know, the quality was really, really high, whereas the quality between Gaethje and Poirier was also very high, but it was a little bit more just bite down and go. Yeah. And that again, that's for some people, that's going to make it higher in the rankings. I still appreciate that, but I'm always going to appreciate some of the more refined values that you can find in the crucible of a tough challenge that you saw with Cormier and Gustafsson. So I'll go that 2, and then the last.
So Luke goes BAC is his order there on number 2.
Blood alcohol content, which is going to be high in mine tonight.
Let's go to number 3. We're talking about second-tier Arnold Schwarzenegger movies from best to worst. True Lies with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Man.
Total Recall, one of my favorites. And the Danny DeVito classic Twins. So we ain't getting Commando, Predator, Raw Deal.
Predator is not second tier. Predator is first tier.
Right. That's why I just said we ain't getting those. Those are all first tier ones for me.
Let me ask you a question. Where would you put Schwarzenegger's Running Man?
It's become one of my least favorites of his prime action, even though it's fun, over the top. It's great. It's just my least favorite compared to Raw Deal, Commando, Predator, T2, in that stretch where it was like all action bangers. My kids love it. They're excited about the remake coming out.
I'm not excited about the remake. All right, put it up again. I read the book too. The book is very different even from the Schwarzenegger one. So,
okay.
All right. Second tier Arnold movies. Okay. Because of how weird it was, you got to go Total Recall as your first choice.
Yes.
I mean, 3 titties, you don't see that very often.
not that often, but still trying to find that bar one day in Mars, Luke. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So that's number 1.
True Lies was great, but it was really commercial though at the same time.
And it was also wild racist. Yeah, let's go Twins. Twins is so great when they have to explain to Danny DeVito, yes, this is your brother, and in utero he got all of the gifts and you got all the leftover shit. One of my favorite fucking scenes. Yeah. So I'm going to go BCA. BCA.
All right. That's the LT choice on Orange A Trois. Let's go to number 4. You know, M&M candies on Halloween are big, Luke, and they got so many spin-off varieties. Rank these in order of your preference of greatness: caramel, peanut butter, and pretzel.
So this is an easy one to answer because it's not like I don't love a chocolate covered pretzel, but how could any human being think that that is on par with like a normal M&M? It's like double chocolate versus shoving in fucking dried out carbs.
Dude, I love the pretzel ones. I'm going to say that. By the way,
As
are
number
you
one?
Are you no, not number one. No. Peanut butter is the best flavor they ever created. But are you, when it comes to the two basic ones, milk chocolate and peanut, which one do you prefer?
Milk chocolate, 10 times out of 10.
All right, I'm with you on that. How are you ranking these? Can we throw them back up? How are you ranking
So peanut M&Ms, again, it's like, do I want a peanut that's got chocolate on it? Sure, but I prefer the milk chocolate all the way through. So peanut butter is, of these ones, the easiest call. I mean, it's just far. It's in the red bag.
The red bag is
the red bag is fucking deadly, bro.
Yeah.
Caramel, I'll go second. Caramel, depending on how one pronounces it. And then pretzels, you know, these are things I shit at Joseph A. Bank. It's not that important to me. No.
I agree completely with your rankings on this one. Let's go to our 5th one. Worst. You're going to rank these from worst to best. Worst intrusive procedures to endure: prostate check, Amtrak delays, or C, the second Carla Esparza Rose Namajunas play.
I mean, dude, here is how bad Amtrak delays are. It's like I would take having I'd take having a doctor shove his digits into my rear end to medically evaluate my prostate over a fucking Amtrak delay.
I don't know how you could say that out loud. That would be number 1 on my list. The worst thing that could happen to you in your life.
I've never had a prostate check. Have you had one?
A vasectomy with a Vietnam vet who's
right. Now I've not had a prostate check.
Dude, you had for 3 days and you feel really bad about yourself.
Did you feel like sexually violated?
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas the colonoscopy, you feel great. It's like, hey,
The colonoscopy is nothing. You wake up like with the best nap you've ever had in your life. It's absolutely nothing. Here's what you are failing to appreciate. Okay. Put this back up one more time. The choices.
Yeah. Why are we taking this down? Here we go.
Okay. Amtrak delays. The problem, BC, is that they last so fucking long. That's the problem here. You can say pound for pound is a prostate check worse in every way, like on a per minute basis. What could be worse? You know what I'm saying? It's just straight up prison torture. But the time you have to spend if you go for, I've been going to New York for 15 fucking years. Do you know how much time in my life I have lost?
Yeah, you should have moved there a decade ago, right?
It's too fucking expensive. It's too fucking expensive. I don't want to just give all my money to fucking $7,000 in rent to go live in Jersey City. Fuck that, dude. I don't want to do that.
Well, that's true. After being there, Luke, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, dude, I'm going to go
Come to
Amtrak
Long
delays
Island.
one, and I forget the third one was. What was the third one?
Prostate.
Carlos. I mean, as bad as that was, it only lasts for 30 minutes. Call it a day. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Okay, here we go. There we go. Number 6, we're going to rank from best to worst. Best Morning Combat Studios. And to separate these by eras, the first one I'm going to say is both the Bomb Shelter and Orchids of Combat, which is the first era of MK.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is the studio we designed ourselves with books, vinyl, and the RSD couch right in there. And number 3 is where we're at these days in Manhattan on Mondays at Meadowlark.
So this will, I mean, here's the thing. Each one's got a little something to it. The Bomb Shelter or Orchids of Combat were the raw, early fun days. Meadowlark, where we are now, absolutely the most consistent, highest level production work. You know what I mean? We don't have to hear. Do you remember how consistently the fans used to complain, quite rightly, about the audio? You know, and how what a fucking you just don't hear that anymore. I mean, nothing is perfect, but like relative to how it was, Meadowlark has completely erased that. And then, of course, you know, everyone's going to be partial to the one where we won the award in. So I'm probably going to go something like that. I'm probably going to go. We had too much freedom with A and B. So
The problem with B's the first pick. B's the best.
B's the
The
first.
problem was we weren't there a lot. If you remember, at the peak of that studio, we were only going there like once a month and a half, 2 months. Whereas we were there every single week.
It's true.
I was in the studio multiple days a week, and I can just say that was the best studio, the B.
The B?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to sleep on that couch, take naps on that couch. I mean, RSD, let's go.
I can't believe a Long Island dirtbag would do something like that.
Yeah, the answer here is BAC.
I think that's right. I would say that the improvement in the quality at C makes it a little close to A, but the rawness that we had, because I mean, the thing with Meadowlark is, as good as the studios are and they're phenomenal, we have to share them. They're not ours. Yes. Whereas with the Bomb Shelter, and the second one, we basically had to do. We could do whatever we want with it, and that's just not the situation.
I'm surprised no one's defecated inside that studio.
Not for a lack of effort.
Okay, all right. Let's go to number 7 here. Best to worst MMA resumes / legacies. Dustin Poirier, Kamaru Usman, TJ Dillashaw. Who has the best to worst combination of resume and legacy?
You're asking the wrong guy, because the answer for number 1 best is clearly Kamaru, right?
Because he was pound for pound king. What?
And I mean,
14,
he's the
15
second
wins.
He's the second best welterweight of all time behind St. Pierre, and that's quite an achievement. So it's definitely Kamaru. Now, after that, you have to ask yourself a question. How do you feel about someone who didn't have a full weight class title, got pretty close, but didn't have a full weight class title, versus somebody who did have a weight class title, but then popped for PEDs, and to what extent you evaluate that? I will tell you, I don't really give a shit about that for reasons I articulated a gazillion times. I mean, it's relevant, but I don't care about it so much. I would go. I mean, the thing is, dude, honestly, I feel like the current fan base just loves Poirier.
That's a good legacy and resume to have.
It's a great one. Honestly,
beating better people than many champions have.
So here's the problem, dude. The resume for Dillashaw is stronger, I feel like, because of the high-end achievement he had. But the legacy of Poirier might honestly be much better than Dillashaw's, because he beat a bunch of really fucking good guys. And doesn't have any of the PED stuff following him. So I might go BAC, even though I kind of feel like it's BCA,
Interesting. I wondered if you were going to go A first, even though obviously he wasn't a champion compared to the two, but like Kamaru he is not beloved, or does he receive the respect that his accomplishments say he should? Agree with that?
That's true, but dude, for anyone who's literate, it's not even a slight to Poirier, dude. I'm not even trying to be insulting in any way at all, but like, you got to give Kamaru the credit he deserves. He was
the best fighter in the world. Yeah, he was the best fighter in the world.
He was fucking very good in his prime,
All right, our final one on Orange A Trois. These are best to worst. LT's preferred genie bottle wish. You only get one wish with the bottle. You can get 8 hours of sleep per night moving forward. You can have normal bowel movements moving forward, or you can trade hogs with Rocco.
Rocco Siffredi. Is he the one that had the curve joint? No, that's Nacho Vidal. So that would absolutely be a no. These are all tempting. Definitely going to throw out normal bowel movements, because it would just give me less things to talk about. So that's not one that I want.
You would be a much better house guest if you had that, right?
Yeah, but I don't care about being a good house guest. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to have good house guest or good stories. I'll take good stories every time, right?
Okay.
Sorry, Joseph A. Bank. Now the trading hogs with Rocco, I don't know. Like, that's definitely gonna be a fun little thing. However, I'd say I'm gonna go out on a limb and say my wife's probably pretty satisfied for the most part.
Okay, I don't know if we needed that breakdown.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's not like a thing that I'm desperate for, but I am desperate for the 8 hours of sleep. You see, that would be the ultimate fucking life hack. I want the 8 hours. So I'm going to go A as number 1. We'll put C number 2, and then normal bowel movements. You can just take that off the list completely. I don't give a shit about that.
I mean, Long Island Luke, could you imagine a well-slept, happy Luke Thomas every episode?
Can you imagine?
I can't even imagine it. It'd be crazy.
He's like, I literally can't conceive of you as a well-slept person.
There it is. That was the Orange A Trois right there. We're going to close with our fan segments. Of course, we offer the email address for you to contact the show of morningcombat@gmail.com. for your fan subs, for your dead wrongs. Hey, you want to complain? You want to accuse us of something? There's your opportunity, even up to and including showing your privates to Mikey. So it's available to you at morningcombat@gmail.com. Let's go with dead wrongs up first. We don't always get it right, but at least we have the guts to stand up to the truth if you have a receipt and you got some balls. This one's called Dead Wrong.
Dead wrong.
Let's see who took the L. Antonio writes in. He says, good night from Portugal. I was just listening to the 321 post-fight recap show, and at 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 40 seconds, Brian is dead wrong. Aspinall submitted Volkov with a straight arm bar.
Yes.
Not a, as BC said, chicken wing or Americana.
So the reason why you're halfway, I know why you said that, is because he didn't submit it with a, what's they call a Jujigatami, where the traditional Ronda armbar where it's between your legs. He did it where he was kind of diagonal, not side control, but diagonal, and then he straightens the arm out and then does it where he's kind of bending it with his own arms in that way. So it's a different kind of arm bar. So I know why you said that, but technically you're right. He's right.
I'll take that L. I was technically wrong. I couldn't think of which arm one it was on that point. Arm bar, but no. Long Island Luke is reporting, by the way, that everybody has made weight for UFC Warehouse. Okay. All right. Also, a quick update here, Luke. Long Island Luke reporting that 75% of the chat has said they like your 5 scarier punchers better than mine. Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, I went first, so BC could only pick what was available outside of what I picked, but I do feel like my list is good. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Our second dead wrong comes to us from Christopher, who says, hey, I'm a longtime listener here. First time submission for dead wrong on the October 6th episode reviewing UFC 320 at 1 hour and 5 minutes. BC said Yuri had now improved to 8-0 against everyone in the UFC not named Alex Pereira. You are dead wrong. Yuri has 8 fights in the UFC and is 6-0 in the UFC when not facing Poatan. This seems like something very easy to review if one is not stuffing his face with gas station hot dogs and looking like the inverse of a ladies' night version of Carlos Olberg. If I could suggest an excuse, BC, just say your eye was looking away from the fact, from that fact on your timeline, like your Vierna Janjardoba, and you confuse the 6 for an 8. I do have bad eyesight. Hey, BC, next time, let's be more focused on the show prep than keeping track of the Instagram followers for the number 9 and 11 ranked strawweights. Wow. In the Apex co-main event. Keep coming with bits every show. Sorry, not loads. As they make my day listening to see, I can't read, but yeah, I'll take the L from Christopher right there. 0 for 2 this week, Luke. Wow. All right. Our third one comes from Joel. Hey, Luke and BC, longtime fan, longtime listener, also a nerdy lawyer here. Luke, you're dead wrong when you say, quote, accumulative damage. The correct word is cumulative, not accumulative. Cumulative equals damage that builds up by successive additions. Dictionary.com describes cumulative as increasing by successive additions formed by accumulation. That is what happens when steady jabs, body shots, and calf kicks add up until the opponent breaks down. But accumulative with an A is a real word, but far less common. It just means tending to accumulate. Merriam-Webster lists cumulative as the standard word for something resulting from many additions, while accumulative is listed as a secondary option. Style guides consistently note that cumulative is the correct choice in this context. In short, a fighter wins by cumulative damage, not accumulative damage. Don't feel bad, Luke. You've only been making this mistake consistently for years, displaying your ignorance on possibly thousands of occasions. Consider it a true masterclass in cumulative error. Respectfully and with love for the show, Joel. Wow,
yeah.
Dude.
Why don't you cumulatively put some licks on my balls? How about that?
So look, he's saying that you're not completely wrong.
Yeah, but I'm not, like, the way it works in this kind of world where, like, what's the most correct option? And it sounds like what he's saying is the most correct option. So
okay, that's wild. That is so wild.
I guess I have to take that L.
Wow, we had a lot of L's today. This one's from Andrew. During Have You Seen This Shit on Monday, BC showed the video of the guy putting the chicken roller on the hot dogs bun in 7-Eleven with chili and cheese. He said it was 7-Eleven over and over again. You would think that someone who has eaten so many gas station hot dogs in his life would know what 7-Eleven looks like. Guess black liver affects the brain too. This was clearly a Quick Trip, is the name of the store down south, probably the Atlanta area. Luke should have known better. There's like 5 of them within 10 miles of the Big Chicken.
Okay, you know what I think about Atlanta? I don't. Fuck Atlanta. There you go.
Oh, and their Chipotle sauce is fantastic. That's Andrew giving Luke a second L. Number 5 comes from Luke H. and Kevin. Luke H. writes, greetings from the Welsh Valleys, LT and BC. On Friday the 17th at 37 minutes, LT was recanting a list of Kevin Holland's fights where he brought up 185. LT's aim was to compare Holland's success at 170 versus his failures of a lack of effort at 85. In the full list at 85, LT states Jack Della Maddalena as one of these fights where Holland was drummed out by a heavier guy. LT, I've added evidence of this fight, which was on September 16th, 2023 at 170. That's welterweight. Not only that, the bout was a split decision.
Yes.
LT, I would suggest you should reduce your consumption of caffeinated brain rot and instead look to improve your memory retention by reading high-level.
I have to go back and listen. I've never internalized that fight as a middleweight fight, but more there was a turning point after it. But I've never ever thought JDM was a middleweight. So it depends how I articulated it. I'll begrudgingly accept this L.
Yeah, you lose 3-2 on today's L's. He closes by saying that you should read high-level publications such as the PhD thesis of Dr. Mike Israetel.
Israetel, yeah.
With love from the Valleys, a similarly washed dad. It's Luke H. So Luke
That's
took
funny.
a lot of L's there, including
Mike Israetel, BC, is a wildly successful, or was anyway, kind of a proprietor of fitness content. And
is he a grifter on the Moneyberg level?
No, but someone read his PhD and then audited it, and it's like the worst PhD you've ever seen in thesis in your fucking life.
All right. As worse as these face tattoos, Luke?
It's the equivalent.
Okay.
It's the PhD equivalent.
Our final segment is called The Opportunity, where you can put Saul's wife in one of our t-shirts or send us your artwork. This one's called Fan Submissions.
You've got mail.
Viewers.
All righty. Our first fan sub comes from Kyle, who says, huge fan here, listening since 2020, every single show. Just sat for 18 hours across 2 days for this tattoo piece.
Holy shit.
It's not fully finished. The gaps will be filled in with white and blue, but I needed a few weeks break. Rate it, please, from 1 to 10.
Again, I wouldn't want this tattoo. Not that I have anything negative to say about it. It's just not for me. But in terms of just pure raw tattooing, that is fantastic. It's black and gray, but then you got these really bold lightning and blue eyes, as you can see in the one on the bottom. I don't know how that squares with the kind of Pacific Islander tattooing on the right leg. But again, if we're just evaluating the left, BC, I mean, tattooing basically doesn't get much better. That is very, very, very high quality work.
Well done there, Kyle. I'll give it a 8 out of 10, Luke. Okay. All right. Our second fan sub comes from Gerard, who says the main card minute sighting while seeing Cannibal Corpse with municipal waste at the Huntington Paramount in Long Island. Got a picture of this sticker in the bathroom. I watch this show every
Look
episode.
at that.
I haven't missed one in 4 years. Thanks for all the good work. Long Island, Luke, you got to fess up. Was that you at...
I love everything about this because I've put up so many of these fucking stickers all over the, not the world, but, you know, everywhere, especially in Huntington. And yes, the Paramount men's bathroom is littered with these stickers. Shout out Gerard. He saw a fucking Cannibal Corpse the same weekend I saw Everclear too. So that's funny.
Luke, do you like the band Municipal Waste that Gerard saw?
They're not for me.
Okay. Do they do Viking Rose or nah?
Not that I'm aware of, but
okay.
Who knows?
Thank you, Gerard, for sending it in. We also heard from Jonas this week, who has a video.
All right, enough of this conversation. We should watch porn.
Yeah, that's the show.
Dude, I
That's
had to
what
go
it is.
hat in hand back to Comcast. Did I tell you this?
With your gross search history and be like, can you fix this, please?
It's like, guys, I know that this is really the kind of porn searching that really makes you question your own morality, but no, I'm serious. I had to go fucking back to them, bro, because the Verizon thing, I just don't know what to do.
Like a bitch. Yeah. That's what you get for shopping around. You should stay loyal.
Yeah, listen, I'm a loyal Verizon customer for my cell phone. They're great. I love them, but I gotta get I need some extra help. I'll just put it that way.
Okay. Our final fan submission comes from a man named John who says, Luke, I was trying to talk MMA, but I know what was really on Luke's mind. Let's see this. Okay.
Mechanics on the paintbrush, the Americana, were real bad, which is why it didn't work. Because if the elbow comes up, there's nothing really torquing it. If the elbow comes up, there's nothing really torquing it. It has to really torquing it. It has to come really torquing it. It has to come really torquing it. It has to come.
All right. That's probably also accurate. Thank you.
What's this?
This is also from John, who puts, that is what we do here, unfortunately, on Mondays there. So check out my shit on Mondays. Thank you very much. That's it. That's all we got for fan subs. You can reach back out to us at morningcombat@gmail.com and we'll take your submissions for next week. Thank you very much. November 13th is I believe a Wednesday. We'll be hitting you with UFC 322 pregame preview. Don't forget that.
Thursday.
Oscar Wild Willis joining us. What was that, Long Island?
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday. We'll be there.
Yeah, November 13th.
You said Thursday earlier too.
Oh, then I think that's November 13th. Yeah, that's a Thursday. My bad. 11 a.m. November 13th. Set your watch by it. Finally, this is your last chance to get our October exclusives over at morningcombat.shop. Yeah, we're talking about Super Wash Dads. We're talking about this great Halloween crossover here of Frank and Luke and Donkula. Get a signed poster, get the t-shirt. It's leaving our website. You'll never see it again unless it's on one of your significant others. Also, mix and match colors, because you can go to our evergreen section. There's probably some shirts and mugs and baby bibs in there that you didn't even know we had. I probably don't even know we have it. We may sell MK rubbers. I have no idea. Do we?
We sold MK lotion.
We're just sold out right now. We normally have them.
All right, because we definitely got that MK Jerkins here. Okay.
I threw mine away.
Why? Look, you could use it. I mean, there's a use for it, right? You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't. It was just sitting on my sink. I was like, what the fuck is this for?
Long Island Luke and I get the feeling that, whatever you get as a gift from fans of this show goes just right in the garbage.
I've literally got the dime bag here. Like, what are we talking about? Show my full screen, Long Island.
I was talking about that MK Jerkins. That's a keepsake for life.
Dude, that was from Rich Dunkel fuck.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
bang.
guy.
That's from, why am I going to keep that?
That's a fair point. That's
not a gift from the audience. That's you see, look at you fucking slandering me falsely in front of the audience. I keep everything that I get from the audience.
Notice it wasn't your co-host who said that. It was too cheesy.
Yeah, too cheesy needs to go to sleep, motherfucker.
We thank you for watching this program. Are you going to do a live show, Luke, this weekend? They can follow your social channels.
Can you imagine a bigger waste of life than doing that right now?
Let's talk for
now
the
feels like
time.
a good segue. I'll be live for the full card tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Dude,
also, guys,
how can you justify that to your girlfriend? I'm being dead serious.
No, she's working. We're good. Also, new prop quiz dropping in 25 minutes. We got the much anticipated matchup: Aaron Bronstetter taking on Ben the Bane Davis.
Oh, I bet Ben gets smoked.
No, it's actually like a really good matchup all the way through. So definitely tune in.
Okay, and then the winner faces the winner of another matchup, and then the winner faces me for like Slito's entire savings account, right?
Yeah. So winner of this episode will face winner of Danny Segura versus Jose Young's. Winner of that will get $100. Then they face BC for $20 championship matchup. Not a bracket.
Wait, how is this championship like? This is like a super fight.
Champion, because it's a one-off matchup. Whereas the bracket, you got to win
$20 for this.
Yeah, you got to win 3 matchups to win 100, 1 to win 20. It makes sense to me. Makes sense.
$20.
Right, we're not rich. Shout out Slito and Eli Steele for both.
Hey, either way, You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Sleeto. Thank you so much. All right. LT, anything you want to say as you head out to be a hashtag girl dad on the streets of DC?
I'm gonna make the Hawaiian, what Hawaiian am I saying? Halloween rum punch. I'm gonna make that this afternoon, and then I'm going to try to be a good dad. We'll see how that goes.
All comments made today were made by Too Cheesy. So deal with it.
Yeah, that's a Leah joke. That one caught me by surprise.
Yeah, that was peak MK. I mean, it was just, one of the best moments ever. For my great cat, Reggie Jackson, for Luke Thomas, Long Island, Luke, and the great people behind the scenes. Yeah, I see you, Matt Snyder, everyone here. I want to close this by telling you, of course, that this episode of Morning Combat was brought to you by DraftKings. Hey, DraftKings, the crown is yours, baby. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the weekend. Safe tonight out with the kiddos. Take care of yourselves up here, down here too, if you can get, if you can, you might have to, right? Yeah, it's just so true though. We out of this piece.